Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We will call the meeting to order and begin with our land acknowledgement statement. We acknowledge that the ground on which we live is the traditional territory of Caldwell First Nation, of the Three Fires Confederacy, and the original people of Point Pelee and Pelee Island, and its surrounding lands and waters, and that of the Huron-Wendat and Wyandot peoples. We recognize and respect the First Nations who are stewards of the land and waters of Turtle Island, and who have embraced this stewardship since time immemorial. We would also like to acknowledge the contributions of other nearby First Nation communities and all original people across Turtle Island. We will now have a moment of silent reflection, followed by the playing of our national anthem. Please stand for the playing of the national anthem.
And now, please stand for our Canadian National Anthem.
If we can get an adoption of the agenda for the September 23rd, 2025 regular council meeting. Moved by Councillor Carrick, supported by Councillor Regis Spagnola. All in favor? And that carries. Any disclosures of community interest? Councillor Carrick?
Yes, item H3, Malden Road Phase 1 construction method. Parent owns property on Malden Road in the affected area.
Any others? Okay, if we can get an adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting of council held September 9th, 2025.
Move it.
Moved by Councillor Burns, supported by Councillor Rano. All in favor? And that carries. Mayor's comments. As you're aware, September 30th is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. This day is intended for all Canadians to create meaningful conversations about the effects of residential schools and to uphold our commitment to reconciliation. The Indian residential school system operated across Canada for well over 100 years, with the last schools closing in the 1990s. Indian residential schools were created to separate Indigenous children from their families and communities and to systematically strip away their traditions, cultural practices, and languages. Together, we honor the survivors of residential schools and acknowledge the pain that they and their families have carried for generations. It's going to take a long time to heal from the trauma and effects of residential schools. We must come together in meaningful ways to continue building a future based on relationships and mutual respect. In addition, September 30th is recognized as Orange Shirt Day, as Indigenous-led grassroots commemorative day inspired by the story of Indian residential school survivor Phyllis Webstad. Phyllis was 6 years old when she wore her new orange shirt for her first day at residential school. Her shirt was immediately taken from her by school staff. To honor the children who survived Indian residential schools and remember those who did not, many Canadians across the country wear an orange shirt. We do have a short video to share together so we can listen, learn, and reflect. Here's the video.
To the survivors of residential schools, we are here today because of you, because of the hard truths that you have shared, because of your courage. I say Chi Miigwech today because it is a powerful day. I have heard survivors say every day should be a day for truth and a day for action. Every day we should honor the survivors and all those little ones who died or went missing and did not return to the arms of their loved ones.
Okay. Franco-Ontario Day is celebrated annually on September 25th to recognize and celebrate the rich history, culture, and contributions of Ontario's Francophone community to the province's social, economic, and political life. The date also marks the anniversary of the first Franco-Ontarian flag raised in Sudbury in 1975. This Thursday, members of council will join the City of Windsor for the flag raising at the City of Windsor City Hall at 11 a.m. Our last night market of the season is coming up on Sunday, September 28th from 4 to 8 p.m. and this is being held at the Event Center at LaSalle Landing. So come out to enjoy delicious food, shop a wide variety of unique vendors, and take in live entertainment. Activities include a Learn to Skip session and live music by the Midlife Jazz Trio. So we hope to see you there. Reminder that the municipal offices are closed for Truth and Reconciliation Day, which will be Tuesday, September 30th, and the Vollmer Complex will remain open. And finally, a reminder, our LaSalle Senior Active Living Day is on Thursday, October 2nd from 11 to 3 p.m. at the Event Center at LaSalle Landing. It'll host the annual Senior Social. This free event will feature activities tailored to different interests and abilities, including dance, pickleball, and tabletop games. A light lunch and refreshments will also be provided, so we look forward to engaging with our 55-plus community at this lively gathering. And that's what I have today. Thank you. We have no public meetings or hearings or presentations or delegations, so we're going to move into H of our agenda, which is our staff reports and correspondence for council action. Item 1 is procedure bylaw amendments, and I will turn it over to our Deputy Clerk, Ms. Jean.
Thank you, Mayor Meloche, through you. Tonight, I'm presenting 2 housekeeping amendments to our procedure bylaw. The first one is regarding section 4.21B, which is regarding posting of the budget documents. Currently, the bylaw requires budget documents to be posted on our website 21 days prior to the budget meeting, and we are recommending that this be shortened to 10 days. This recommendation change aligns with timelines introduced under the Strong Mayor Powers legislation. And under this new legislation, once the budget is provided to council, there is only a 30-day window for council to propose amendments. So if no amendments are made within that period, the budget is deemed adopted. So reducing the posting requirement to 10 days reflects these timelines and still gives council and the public time to review the budget before any deliberations. And it also gives council more time to recommend any amendments post it being published. The second is section 9.8, which is regarding delegation requests. Currently, delegation requests under this procedure bylaw must be submitted at least 4 days before the meeting. Our meetings are the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. So this way, we had our delegates submit their request the Friday at noon before the Tuesday meeting. We had some feedback, and just even internally, we had some discussions, and we thought that a change from 10 a.m. the day before the meeting would give those delegates more opportunity on the weekend to be able to send something in to us. So this gives them more time to request, to speak before council, and at the same time, it still gives us, administration and council, enough time to review and prepare for the delegations. So those are the two housekeeping changes, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Members of council, do you have any questions or comments? Before you do, I'm just going to clarify one item that I just want to kind of help everyone understand why it's being shortened, is with the new strong mayor powers, when a budget is released, we must adopt, or it automatically gets adopted, if I'm saying that right, within 30 days of the day of release. So if we were to stick with the 21 calendar days, that means we would have 9 days to deliberate, send it back to administration if we need more, and for it to come back to council, which is almost unrealistic in time. So that is why, just for clarification, why it is being recommended to have that change. Councillor Reno?
Thank you. My comment wasn't necessarily about strong mayors, as I think the community as well as council are still unfolding all of this stuff. But it is appreciated that we are looking at the bigger picture when it comes to this. Mine is more about the delegations. I want to thank you for this change, as a lot of times I've had people approach me as they don't necessarily read that agenda until the weekend before, and a lot of them, it's too late for them. Sometimes I'll make an offer to insert them, but it's nice that now it's part of the procedure. So thank you very much to the clerk's office in general.
If there are no other questions or comments, the recommendation is that the report of the deputy clerk dated September 2nd, 2025, CL-2025-008, regarding amendments made to the procedure bylaw be received, and that council approves amendments to council meeting procedures and adopt the corresponding bylaw. Moved by Councillor Reno, support by Councillor Riccio Spagnolo. All in favor? And that carries unanimously. Item 2, declaration of municipally significant event, the Autumn Market. Our Director of Culture and Recreation, Ms. Finero.
Thank you. Good evening, Your Worship and members of council. This report is seeking a council resolution to declare the LaSalle Autumn Market an event of municipal significance for the purposes of obtaining a special occasion permit from the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario. This is a standard rental that does have alcohol. It follows all the same policy and procedure that we would follow with any rental that has alcohol. It's set to take place on Saturday, October the 11th from 11 to 5 at the LaSalle Event Center. I'm available should you have any further questions about it.
Any questions or comments? I have one question, I guess. I know Councillor Reno at the August 8th, 2023, I don't know if that's right. It is. Okay, meeting had asked for a report declaring that we could see about declaring these events municipally significant by not going through a council, that administration could take those steps. It says we should have received the report in Q2 of 2025. Is that still coming forward? Okay.
Yes, so that was a report that was supposed to come from Council Services this year. The project got derailed a little bit last year while we were working through that project, and then with the election, the by-election, we haven't had an opportunity to get back on that. So there is language in the current delegation of authority bylaw that speaks to this and gives some authority to the CAO, but we want to strengthen that language. So it will come as part of the delegation of authority amendments at that time.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Just further to that, in order to try to streamline the process, we'll be leaning on the language that we have currently in our bylaws. And so council will see less of these coming forward unless it's some sort of emergency or outside the authority that's granted under the current language. We're looking to, as Ms. Astrologo has mentioned, we're looking to strengthen the language that's in our current bylaws. However, we will be leaning on that to bring these things forward and expedite them on a more quick basis so that council won't see these as often. We will provide information to council when these are authorized and letters submitted. However, they won't be coming back to this table in the format.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's not that council doesn't want to see it, but I realize that waiting to be on agenda could delay things for anyone bringing these events into the town. So I just want to, I know that was something you were concerned about before. So go ahead, Councillor Reno.
I just want to thank you for the update. I had the exact same screen pulled up for the exact same question. Thank you.
Okay, no further questions or comments? Recommendations that the report of the Director of Culture and Recreation dated September 3rd, 2025, CR-2025-23, regarding the declaration of municipally significant event Autumn Market be received, and that the LaSalle Autumn Market be declared an event of municipal significance for the purpose of obtaining a special occasion permit from the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario. Moved by Councillor Burns, support by Councillor Carrick. All in favor? And that carries unanimously. Item 3 is our Malden Road Phase 1 construction method. Our Manager of Engineering, Mr. Capucci.
Thank you. Mayor and council members, the report here is to discuss and get some direction on the Malden Road construction project for the next year. I'll start with a summary of the overall project, list the improvements that we're planning on completing, discuss the issues that we're running into for the construction, go over the two options, and then we can talk about the phasing. So this Malden Road project is a long time coming. It's part of the Malden Road EA. And earlier this year, we were starting the design process as well as the property acquisition, which is begun and is underway. And we've also begun, as part of this, looking at utility relocations. So right now, we still haven't gotten all the property, but we're nearing the end of that phase. And the next phase of our project is looking at doing the utility relocations, which we're hoping to start sometime in October. The utility relocations need to happen before we can start any of our main construction process, and our design at this point, the engineering design for Malden Road, is around 60 to 70% complete. At this time, we kind of need to make a decision as to how we're going to tender the job. Obviously, if we're going to close the road in phases to complete the road works or try to keep lanes open. And the reason why we need to know this is because both options would have an impact on our design, our final design, which we're trying to complete, as well as the tendering process. Typically, when you're doing these types of jobs, you want to have a tender that's very clear and concise, and there's very little ambiguity for the bidders, because anytime there's any variables within the contract documents, those prices, you see increase in prices. And we would like to tender at the end of the year, which has typically shown favorable results for these types of projects. So we'll try to get a lower price. The work that we are trying to complete is widening the road from 2 lanes to 3 lanes. It'll include a new traffic signal at Riam, two more PXOs along Malden for pedestrians to cross. There are certain sections that need new water mains, certain sections that don't need water main. The full stretch of the roadway will get a new storm sewer, as well as there'll be new curbs, sidewalks, multi-use trail, as well as buffer bike lanes in certain areas. So there's a lot of work that's going on involved in this. So now I'll go over the issue. So essentially, to complete a majority of the work, especially the deep storm sewer that we have to install, we would be required to only have 1 lane of traffic in one direction. So not 2 lanes, just 1 lane. So we'll be having flaggers, and we would see a significant backup in traffic while we're doing that, as well as, there's always the safety concerns that are associated with that, and there's also going to be an increase in cost. So if we always keep traffic open for the 2 ways of traffic, we'll have to install more temporary lanes, which is essentially throwaway costs. So we have 2 options. One is to do a full lane closure, or one is to keep the lane open. In the report, I go over kind of both the approaches. I want to specify, though, that a full lane closure would result in having a section of the road closed. I'm going to try to share my screen, and I'll kind of show you what I mean. this is the best I can do when it comes to technology. So this is the drawing we got, and the staging isn't 100%, but likely we would have 2 stages. If we were to close the road, we would close it at the Cahill Drain here, and the construction zone proper would be from Morton to Stewart. With construction closed here, anywhere else, you'll have 2 lanes of traffic, and all residents would be able to access their homes, as well as businesses will be open, and there'll be detour routes for the businesses and local traffic only. The main truck routes, the main detour routes would be the same in both scenarios. So in both scenarios, if we're open and closed, we're going to try to get trucks and major traffic off, in which case we'd be utilizing Laurier Drive to detour trucks and most vehicles away from Malden Road as much as possible to try to eliminate congestion, because there will be congestion. So even though it is closed, you cannot pass that red area. People who live on Susanna Edgemore and Stewart and so forth would still be able to find access to their homes. You just couldn't cross Malden Road. By doing it this way, by closing off Malden and doing it in phasing, you'd save about 8 weeks of construction time, which is the estimate, and at least we're estimating over $700,000. And that saving comes from the amount of time that the crews have to be on site, the traffic detour setups, and the throwaway cost of creating temporary lanes for road during the construction period. So both will have a larger detour, both will have a local detour, and the closure will see a bit of a, not a bit, it'll see a significant savings in terms of construction timeline. I think that is everything. I know there's a lot to digest there, so I'd be happy to answer any questions and go over anything with council.
Thank you very much. Members of council, I'm sure we have lots of questions. Councillor Reno, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Your Worship. A couple questions for you. First of all, you mentioned 2 extra PXOs that are part of the plan. At what intersections should we expect those to show up down the road?
Right now, there's that trail, the Burnett Trail that goes along the Cahill and it crosses the street right at just north of Morton, so there'll be a PXO there. And then there's also going to be one at Stewart, because it's such a distance between 2 signals that we're going to have another one there to connect the Edgemore and Suzanne area to the Stewart area as well.
Perfect. And this is just more a comment, and I just, knowing that Stewart's right in the middle of all this, I would just hope that we could give some consideration to Stewart to avoid it being part of the detour system, only because it's already a neighborhood traffic calmed street, and I know that that causes people even that live on there some frustration, which good frustration, but we probably, if we could avoid sending an extra 5,000 cars down that road, I think that might be in our best interest.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, the proper detour won't use Stewart as a detour. It'll be catching people at Laurier and utilizing Laurier even before that if we can. Even down front, which I should say we wouldn't be doing Malden while Front Road any work is happening. That will have to complete before, so to ensure traffic patterns are, improved.
So that was actually going to be my third question. As I got 2 messages and a call this week about the agenda and about the concern that Front Road seems to be behind schedule, but I know that we've been working. I know that. People are just concerned that the 2 aren't going to happen at the same time. So what you just told me is you're guaranteeing me that the 2 will not happen at the same time.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just for some clarity, for those that are viewing online in the audience, the PXO as a pedestrian safety crossing?
Pedestrian crossover. Yep.
Councillor Richa Spignola.
Thank you, through you to Mr. Capucci. Okay, so you answered one of the questions, which was about the front road, so thank you for that. So my concern is, first off, what's the timeline? How long would this phase be? That's the first question.
I would say a construction project like this, depending on when we can start, you're going to look at anywhere between 12 months to 15 months of construction work.
Okay, so that would be a tremendous impact on our businesses if we were to close the road, as well as, like, I'm thinking school buses for drop-offs, the daycare that's on Malden. I'm thinking those locations. The main concern that I have is the businesses that are on Malden, as I'm sure we all have the same concerns. And also the people that have to travel like that for 15 months. I do understand your point that it would reduce our costs, 700,000 plus the 8 weeks of the timeline if we were to close the whole road. But if we go with another option, which is doing the one lane that you had mentioned, I think that might be, in my opinion, perhaps better suited. But of course, that would delay the project longer, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it would be longer, and the construction methods are a bit different. I would like to mention, even though it is closed, there'll be accesses to business. If the road were to be open, there'll be no left turns. You wouldn't be able to facilitate left turns on Malden. So southbound traffic couldn't make a left crossing just due to traffic backups and safety crossing into the road. So those would be eliminated. And then the phasing, you know, both will have phasing, but once that first phase is complete, which most of the businesses are on that first page, you wouldn't have through traffic, but that'll be complete, like curb to curb, all properly restored. And then, so essentially from Normandy all the way to Stewart, you'll have a brand new cross-section that we're looking at. The other thing worth discussing is this is going to be done in 2 phases, in 2 seasons. So we won't be able to complete all this work in 2026. There's going to be a break during the winter, and in which case all the roads will be open again and safe for pedestrians and vehicles to use.
Thank you for that. Like, I know this is a long time coming project, which I think is great that we're finally going to get that traffic light at Ream that everyone's been asking for, so that's incredible. I love that we're moving it to 3 lanes because the area is congested. LaSalle obviously is growing and is just such a high traffic area. Like I said, my main concerns is the congestion with us having to redirect people to different areas in LaSalle, how that's going to be in neighborhoods and with Laurier, like you had mentioned. And then I also think of, like, obviously that's a discussion you'd have with the school buses for drop-offs and the daycares and.
I've already talked with the school bus about this, and we are going to work out some sort of agreement with them and put that into the contract to try to eliminate bus. Anytime we do a construction project anywhere, buses always get detoured around. I'm going to try to work in that buses can continue their routes because they have an issue with this type of closure as well. So we have already started those conversations if it's possible. Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Marr, did you want to add something?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Capucci kind of clarified it. Although it's a 12 to 15-month construction project, it's broken up over 2 seasons. So there will be a winter break where everything will be opened back up. You'll have a section of new road with 3 lanes. You'll have the old section. It is going to be inconvenient for everybody, no matter which direction we go. This is just an unfortunate byproduct of road improvements. And so Mr. Capucci also highlighted that even if we keep 2 lanes traffic and do temporary works, we have to eliminate the left turn movements, because if there's left turn movements, it will back everything up and no one's moving anywhere until that happens, until that left turn movement occurs. That's very typical in construction zones where they limit in do that temporary no turning movement. So there's also transit, the LaSalle Transit we're going to have to deal with. They do not pick up and drop off in construction zones. So we are going to have to work with transit on how and what that route looks like for the duration of this project. So it just wanted to clarify that although it is a long construction project, the way we're staging it is try to ease that concern. This is very similar to what you saw, what you have seen in various construction projects throughout the city, where they do some work one year and additional works the following year. So very, very similar.
Thank you. Councillor Burns?
First to administration, anyone can answer it, but what notice have we given the businesses in the affected area that option A is closed for 6 months, or option B is we leave one road open? So that would be my first question. And the second question is, if we close for 6 months, are these businesses going to be able at all to get anybody in or out? You know, down where the old Michigan is and along there. I mean, it's, when you go up to Stewart, anybody on that left-hand side of Malden, so that would be going east, we're effectively saying we're closing it at Stewart and open up in December, January 27th or whatever, depending on construction. The way I read the report, those businesses be effectively closed for 6 months. My assumptions, right or wrong? Thank you.
The businesses will have, like typical to a lot of construction projects, the detours signage is made for specific businesses. So as part of this, we would have a detour plan specific for those businesses and find a way for them to get in and out. Ellis Street on the east side is an option for local businesses, as well as possibly having a temporary road along certain areas. We may have to work with a contractor to figure that out. But we haven't had any conversations with the business owners because we don't know what direction we're going at this present time. And so I guess it's almost a chicken and the egg kind of thing, but we need to find out which construction method is going to work best and then work out those nuances as we go.
The other question was, how much notice have we given the business owners?
Correct. We haven't talked to the business owners yet.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just further up. I'm still not clear how we're going to get people there because there's no, I mean, Ellis will do this area. Once you block the bridge, the people on the other side of the bridge, how do we get them there when the total road is closed? I mean, are we going to use the sidewalk on the
No.
east side as a possible road to get into their businesses and block off the rest?
Are you talking about the businesses on the north side of the drain?
Yeah.
They would have to do the proper detour, which take them either down Matchett or to Huron Church. So through Laurier, they can go down to Matchett and come up in and around, or Huron Church come up in and around.
Okay.
Yeah. For the ones north of the Cahill.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right
yeah,
here.
yeah.
That's fine. But on the south side of the
Yeah,
Cahill,
the ones on the east side, we'd have to utilize Ellis Street. Because Ellis is the only one, there's only businesses on the
Ellis
east
and up
side.
Suzanne and into their sites then.
Yep,
Is that right? So they will be able to remain open.
correct. We will not
Okay.
be closing anyone. We'll be open and we'll work
right.
together with the contractor.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Deputy Mayor Capetta?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, I had a very long conversation with someone today who lives in the neighborhood, and I have a number of questions that I've been asked to ask here. Construction routes for heavy equipment. Can you explain to us how I assume it's going to be dump trucks and heavy equipment are going to be coming in and leaving? That's my first question, sir.
The heavy equipment will be able to utilize Malden because they're entering their construction site and they'll be using their designated truck routes, which is either Laurier or straight down Malden. Probably coming Laurier all the way up to Malden and through. So that shouldn't be an issue for them. You wouldn't see any construction vehicles going down local roads. And we would remind them because sometimes people forget, but you shouldn't see any.
Thank you. Another one, sir. Heavy equipment left on the construction site. What is the plan for heavy equipment or any of those machines that would be left? I believe what the question was the person said, I've gone through construction before where diggers and bulldozers and things like that are left on the road or in the roadway. What is the plan to mitigate that, or is that just an acceptable part of construction?
Well, that would be an acceptable part, especially here where the road would be closed for, again, limiting access to very, very few residents. So, you know, they should be tidy, so we'll ensure that the site is left tidy at the end of the day. Yeah.
Another one, Your Worship, building times. Have we explored expanding, starting earlier, going later, so we can complete the project in a more timely manner?
I have, but I can't go any further faster than the Front Road project. So that's going to dictate the speed at which we start here. More importantly, the utilities won't be able to get completed until spring of 2026. So there's really a very finite window of utilities being completed, Front Road being fully open and operational, and then us being able to start.
Ms. Mara.
Just for clarification, Deputy Mayor, are you talking about working hours, earlier working hours and later
Yes, sir.
working hours? We can certainly explore that, depending when we get through this. We just got to be very careful because there are people who live right there and they will be very inconvenienced to earlier and later work. So we can certainly explore that option, and certainly there's opportunities to put incentives in to finish by a certain date as well. And so there are those options as well. It just, we haven't done much past this point because we are looking for council's direction. Typically, we don't come to council and ask for direction on how we handle construction projects. For example, Sanders Trust Parkway and Heritage Drive, it was closed. We didn't ask council's permission. It just needed, that was part of this. There's an opportunity here to do either or, so we're here before council to seek that direction and make sure that we're all working and singing from the same hymn book, because there is going to be opportunities here where it's going to, and again, it's going to be very inconvenient. People are going to find different ways around. Can you eliminate all cut-through traffic? People are just going to get frustrated, and they're going to find different ways. We can try our best to put in temporary measures to try to eliminate and reduce that cut-through traffic, but as we go through, you know, we have to get through some of this very heavy construction work. The way the construction sites are left are ultimately the responsibility of the contractor. We got to be very careful not to really dictate the method of construction, because we hold the responsibility. We have to give some leeway to the contractors to come forward with their methods and means of how they construct and what they do, because if things go wrong and they've chose it, it's their responsibility to rectify it. When we get really detailed to that effect and telling them thou shalt do this, thou shalt do that, and things don't work out, then we hold the bills for the extras. We have to be very careful on how far and much we do. Certainly, if council is willing for us to explore additional hours, we can put it as part of the tender that there's an option for that. But again, that comes at an extra cost because they are now incurring overtime hours and things of that nature. But that's really something that we could just put as a nomenclature within the tender, saying that that's a possibility, and leave it up to a contractor to make that decision whether that helps them or not.
Thank you. Two more, Your Worship. Specific access for residents. How will we be able to guarantee that residents affected will be able to get specific access going through a construction zone with dump trucks, with heavy equipment and things of that nature?
Like I said, the access for, this is phase one, the access for everyone on the east side of Malden, we're going to utilize Ellis. For everyone on the west side of Malden, we're going to utilize Stewart and those side streets that match it. So for those ones that are right off Malden, that are used to using Malden, should be able to, shouldn't see too much a difference. It's going to be a bit of a pain, but there shouldn't be too much of an issue. For the ones that directly abut Malden, it only takes the crews about a week to know which cars are coming and going, and we will ensure that they have a safe access to their site, to their house through the site.
Final one, Your Worship. Seeing what happened in another municipality with the lack of income to a business, another person called and asked, is there a compensation plan? I know this has been raised in another municipality, and I'm wondering the exact number of businesses that we believe will be affected in that area. I drove it, and I just want to make sure that what I saw is what I understand.
I can't really speak to that.
With respect to business losses, there's always an opportunity for a business to come forward and claim injurious infection. There is a process for that. There needs to be documentation of what the business was in the previous years, what the business has been lost. There's processes for that. Again, it becomes a legal claim, basically, is what it becomes. We don't actively go do that. That is a process for the business owners to move forward with. We will do everything in our powers possible to keep access to businesses open as best as we can and try to sign that the best we can. I don't want to leave here with any illusion that people can have access to their driveway 100% of the time, because when you pour a curb across somebody's driveway, they can't go across the curb for about 7 days. Those people with accessibility needs, we will work with them to find out who has those and how do we deal with them best. This is very similar to when we had to close Match and Sprucewood just to get that done. It was very painful, but the product at the end was well worth it. Those people on those areas where we had to pour the curbs, they couldn't pull into their driveways. We made accommodations for some that had special needs, special mobility requirements. They were parking in the construction site. So again, another opportunity, if the road is closed, they have opportunities to park closer to their homes. I've lived through a number of different construction projects in my neighborhoods, and you have to walk sometimes. And in the evening when they're not working, you can park by your house, but you got to be out early in the morning. So again, that goes against trying to extend hours because people can't get close to their house because we're working longer hours. So there's a balance here that we really have to do. And so this is part of where we have to go. And we've been through this a number of times with Huron Church Line, Todd Lane, where we just have to work through some of these processes. It is going to be, I'm not going to say it's going to be painful for everybody involved, and there'll be lots of phone calls, lots of upset people. But at the end of the day, we will continue to work through it in a timely manner, in a way to produce what the expectation is at the end of the job.
Thank you, Your Worship. Those are the questions I've been asked to ask.
Thank you very much. Did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I do. Thank you. Through you, just a question. I see that it's on the report that it's noted that you consulted with LaSalle Fire, LaSalle Police. Were there any concerns from them, from the chiefs?
Nothing different than a normal construction project would be for this. And every construction project that I've ever been on, there's always on the site. I mean, even though it's closed to traffic, it's closed, but there's always routes on the site for emergency services.
Any other questions? Okay, so a few of mine have been answered, which is great. Emergency access was one, accessibility was another. So I didn't know we had done that on Sprucewood for one of our residents, that we were able to provide them with that. And I wouldn't have realized that it was because the road's closed that we could. So if the road is opened and there is one lane, so it's one lane, one way of traffic, it would just be flagged, is my understanding, right?
Correct, for duration of that, yes. And then eventually it goes to 2 lanes and switches 3 different times. To accommodate that is possible. It's just you won't know until you get out there, and then you have to find the best possible solution. For curbing, you have to do curbs and sidewalks and trails half at a time so people can continue to get in and out. Sometimes you have to put down a temporary gravel pathway. So there's ways of doing it, but it's only for those circumstances that we try to do the best we can to make something work. Yeah.
No, I appreciate the clarification, because coming in today, I think I was really set on saying, no, traffic needs to continue to flow, it needs to be open. But hearing your comments, especially about business access, knowing that even if we have the one lane going, it's still really limited access on Malden Road, that we're still going to prefer that those people use the back roads to get to the businesses. Obviously safer for anyone on site, but I really envision that if we have one way of traffic, one lane at a time, and we have flags, all that's going to do is push that congestion further down Malden in both directions. We already struggle with people trying to turn on to Malden or off, or whatever way they're going. That, to me, if we have this flag in place and people aren't taking advantage of those detours, that it's just going to create these very, very long lines of traffic along Malden Road and create more issues in those detour zones. And I think that's part that maybe I didn't realize until this evening. One of my concerns that I do have is our detour route. So we're saying Ellis and Stewart are kind of, Stewart's not meant to be a detour. We're trying to get people not to use it, but realistically, people are going to. So can we put any additional traffic calming measures on Ellis and Stewart, the two main areas that I really foresee people using?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We can add as much as we want. We could, we could close off Stewart from Malden if we want to, and everyone would just come from the Matchett Way and come in and enter and exit from Stewart's access off Matchett and have it completely blocked off. So to prevent that, we can, I don't see traffic patterns after the first couple days. Yes, first days, it's going to be hairy, but after that, I don't think a lot of people are going to go down at the construction site to go down Stewart to make a right, where they'll probably find quicker routes wherever they're coming from to hit Matchett, to hit Front Road first or go down Laurier. When we talk about using Stewart or Ellis, it's not a detour route. It's for the local residents to enter and exit their areas. But we can add barrels, we can add signage, we can do all those types of things to slow people down and make that detour cut through, if that's what we're referring to it as, more challenging for cut through vehicles, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my concern is more for the people who are traveling north on Malden who don't read all the signs and the detours and get to there and all of a sudden realize the road is closed and they all take a left onto Stewart. I think that's more the traffic I'm concerned of, is those people who are then now frustrated and then speed through. So
Correct.
I know in the city there are certain neighborhoods they're starting to do those traffic calming, not bumps, those are, what are they called?
Speed humps?
No, they're not
No.
speed humps. Is that-
Humps. Bumps where there's the old way.
Yes.
The humps is I suppose, the
So
new.
they're
Yeah,
the
a little
longer,
more
wider.
gradual. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if those are costly to install or if that's even an option for us, but I would like to maybe look at any other ways we could calm traffic on Stewart and Ellis, because I do see those two as being the issue, especially for phase one. Like I said, coming in here this evening, I was really thinking we need to leave this open. We can't restrict traffic, but getting this done quicker, less expensive, obviously is always a good part of it. But knowing that it's not going to really change the access for businesses, whether we have a lane open or not, really helps me to kind of realize that maybe it makes sense just to move forward, get this closed and get this done quicker. I thank you for clarifying too that it's really in phases, because it sounded like at first this entire stretch of Malden Road is going to be closed for 1.5 years, which is scary to anyone. So knowing it's 6 months and then open and then 6 months give and take, I think calms a little bit of the anxiety that people are having. Trying to think if I had anything else on here. I think you answered all of my questions. Like I said, there is no win in this scenario. There really isn't. This is going to be extremely inconvenient for everyone, and we fully understand that. We will all rejoice once it's done in 1.5 years, and we have this great new road with the 3 lanes, and traffic can turn onto Malden, and we have more pedestrian crossings, and we finally have that light at Ream and Malden that we've all been asking for way too long. I know we're going to get there, but it's going to be very painful in the meantime. And I don't know if either solution is really going to appease anyone. Like I said, the biggest concern for us is anyone living on Malden being able to get to their homes. Accessibility-wise, making sure that if you need assistance getting there because of parking, that we have that considered. And then obviously our businesses. And, we do have representation for businesses here. And we realize we haven't had the opportunity to hear from you yet. But once we have a decision here, we will definitely reach out to you as early as possible and be able to communicate with you and help come up with some solutions and ways that we can make sure that, there's enough signage that people know you're open and you're operating, and, that's the last thing we want is to cause any more negative, experiences than we're going to have with this closure. So I'm going to leave it to council now there is a recommendation in front of us. And the recommendation was to have that the report of the manager of engineering dated September 4th, 2025 regarding the Malden Road Phase 1 construction method be received, and that administration be authorized to issue a tender for the Malden Road Phase 1 project and to proceed with the full closure of Malden Road between the bridge at the Cahill Drain. For anyone who doesn't know the bridge at Cahill Drain, that is just south of Shoppers, just to clarify for anybody who doesn't know, and then up to Ream Road. And that's in phases, just to clarify again. If council has something different, you may put forward that recommendation now. Otherwise, I'd be looking for a mover and seconder. Anyone? Councilor Reno?
Considering the project will inconvenience people for a shorter time, it'll get done faster, it'll get done less expensively, and we know that there will be access to the businesses. Because of those three things, I will move the recommendation.
I've moved by Councilor Reno, support by Councilor Riccio Spagnolo, and I will call the question. All in favor of the full closure? Opposed? And that carries. Thank you very much. Item 4, Wales Street Water Main Replacement. And we'll just wait for Councillor Carrick to come back in the room, but that will go to our Manager of Engineering, Mr. Capucci.
Thank you. Mayor and members of council, this report's a lot easier, so, and shorter. So, the 2025 water main replacement project this year was Wales Quick Center and Pope Street off Morton, and we tendered it out. It's about 900 meters of water main relocations. We got a lot of bids and very competitive for all of them in here. Sterling Ridge was the lowest, which we've dealt with in the past. They're a good company to work with, and their price was just under 1.2 million. When talking with them, they're looking at completing this project in the spring, which we think is a great idea for a spring project, and we believe why the price was so low. Based on all this, and based on the expectation of having money ready for 2026 as well, we believe that we should award the contract to Sterling Ridge for the estimated price of 1.2, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Members of council, any questions or comments? No?
Move the recommendation.
Moved by Councillor Burns, support by Councillor Carrick. All in favor? And that carries. Item H is our consent agenda. There's 7 items. Is there anything anyone wants to pull out and speak to directly? Deputy Mayor Capata?
Number 5, increased income support thresholds for Canadian veterans.
Okay, so we will pull that out, and first we'll get an approval for item 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. Moved by Councillor Riccio Spagnolo, support by Councillor Reno. All in favor? And that carries. Item number 5, Deputy Mayor.
Just to speak to it, Your Worship, this income replacement plan serves Canadian veterans who, through their service, have been injured due to sickness or illness. It also is for survivors and orphans. So it is more than just the 20,000. It's calculating up to 40,000. So what I would ask is that we receive and support.
Okay. Councillor Burns, Deputy Mayor Capata, all in favor? And that carries. Item J, committee matters. There's 1, which is the County Council highlights for September 3rd, 2025 meeting. Any questions or comments? If not, just a motion to receive. Councillor Carrick, Councillor Riccio Spagnolo, all in favor? And that carries. Questions and statements by council members?
Go ahead, Mark.
All right, I'll get everybody. So Councillor Carrick will go first.
so,
Make sure you can lean into the mic, please.
I got you. Thanks, Your Worship. That's why I don't have the laptop here. It's perfect for me. It's good. So I just have another question. I got some concerns again with, let me get this right. Sandwich West Parkway here in Church Line, turning north with oncoming traffic coming from Howard down Sandwich West Parkway, and the speeding and the going through and trying to cut across or making the turn, and it's very short and there is no green, advanced green. So, other words, I've seen it myself and a couple other people. You're literally cutting in front of traffic that's going faster coming down than what we're going forward or waiting at the light. So you're actually cutting in front of traffic that's a straight shot from here, Howard, on down to here on Line. So if you can picture that, you're turning left outside of Horizons, out in front of there, you're turning left, but going toward the city. That's a bad spot. And they're literally cutting in front of other vehicles that are coming straight through. So can we look at something possibly that we can, the timing or an advanced green or something where you can actually make a safe left turn instead of trying to beat traffic coming onwards in order, and it's such a short light, so it just compounds everything, especially certain times of the day? So I don't know if that's possible, Your Worship?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. That's a county intersection, county-controlled intersection. So if we want, we can put maybe a request in to look at signal timings to see if an advanced screen is warranted at that location. So that's what you're looking for, an advanced left for that? Is it?
Yes, so at least, it may be both ways, but at least you gotta have an opportunity to get across. And the light's so short that it's just, you get two cars in and the third and fourth one are trying to beat the traffic coming in.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little risky.
Yeah.
In my
yeah.
opinion anyways, and what I've heard.
Oh,
So I would very much appreciate that if that's
I can do that.
council's wish or whomever.
Yeah, we can put in a request to look at the signal timings for that intersection. Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's good, thank you.
Counselor Regis Spagnolo and Counselor Burns.
Thank you, through you, just to LaSalle Fire Chief. I was able to attend your car wash that you and your team did, and I just want to applaud you. It was a great turnout. It was nice to see so many cars there and people supporting a wonderful cause. So I just wanted to recognize you and your crew, and thank you for your support to the community.
Counselor Burns.
Okay, question is to Goodrin. The appeals in the Howard Business Park, what are the timelines for that appeal? Is it 3 months, 6 months, a year? Do we know?
Through you, Madam Mayor, Councilor Burns, I'm assuming you're referring to the appeals associated with the secondary plan, the Howard Bouffard secondary plan? Okay. So, as council is aware, we did receive a number of appeals associated with that official plan amendment. We have retained counsel to help us navigate the appeal process. We have a case management conference that's scheduled for October 29th. And at that conference, it will be before a member of the tribunal to sort out a list of issues. And following that conference, we'll have some additional direction from the tribunal related to the scheduling of a hearing and potential mediation dates. So it's quite difficult to earmark a timeline associated with that process, but we're confident that we're taking the right steps forward in order to remedy those appeals.
Thank you, and then I have another one. Obviously, there's some development that is not under appeal. Are they able to submit a plan of, a draft plan of subdivision to you that can be started now because the land is not under appeal? And the reason I asked this question is because it was a question from our consultant, I think it's Fowler, I forget his name anyway, and it was said, no matter what they do, they can do it. So if they're not, if their land is not under appeal or affected by any of the appeals, can they move forward today? Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor. So in theory, they can. We are, when we're at the case management conference in October, we are going to request of the tribunal member to allow for the portions of the plan that are not subject to appeal to be in full force and effect. So that is going to be a request of ours at the case management conference.
I knew you'd have the answers. Thank you very much.
Councilor Reno?
Yeah, I did just have one. This one's for Peter. I'm sure everybody around the table appreciates the updates that we've gotten on LaSalle Landing and the last minute things that are getting cleaned up for the fall season. I was just wondering if there's anything you could offer for what residents should expect in the next few months. I'm not looking for dates exactly, but just what types of things should residents expect of that area between now and November?
Thank you. As council is aware and the residents, the work that's occurring, that will be occurring shortly on the structure tent. So there will be a area, if it's not already started, to be cordoned off. It will be cordoned off over the next few days. That work should start next week. It will not affect anything of the work that's completed. It's very separated from the work that's completed. That's the area around containing the existing pavilion area and going out towards the boat ramp parking lot. So that area will be under construction for a little while. The anticipated completion date for that work will be beginning to middle of November. At that time, that is when we will be doing a winter switchover. And so you'll start to see rubber being installed and that work's being occurring sometime mid to late November and working our way towards transitioning the skate trail into the winter feature. So those are kind of what you'll see over the next little while. There is some miscellaneous things that the contractor is fixing up and doing over the next little while, but not anticipated to affect the use of the site. So the site will still be available, but there's nothing really that is going to be done that will affect the use of the site, with the exception, and again, it won't affect the use of the site, with the exception of the major works occurring at the structure tent in the area around the old pavilion. But again, it won't affect the use of the site. It's going to be a well cordoned off area, and they'll be working towards kind of completing that work over the next couple months. And like I said, transitioning to winter operations sometime late November, early December.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just have a few myself. First one, Councillor Riches-Bagnolo mentioned, was congratulations to LaSalle Fire. You had, and you can correct me, almost 120 vehicles go through, is that correct? 120 vehicles went through the fire station for a car wash on what ended up being an actual nice day. It didn't start out that way, but you received tons of community support. So I want to congratulate you, because that's obviously the first kind of event like that held at that station, but it was so well attended, and the funds went to muscular dystrophy. So congratulations to you and your team who worked that day and who set everything up. It was a great initiative, and we thank you guys for it. I am looking for two just quick updates, one being the Heritage Sandwich closure for the roundabout, and the second being the DMAF on Front Road, if there's a change in our timeline.
I guess through you? I don't know, how's that work, but I guess to you. The roundabout, they poured the concrete today. They started yesterday, they finished it today. The concrete will cure for the next 5 to 7 days. We'll do some breaks. The remainder of the site will probably take 3 weeks, and it'll be fully opened, like fully back open, ready to use. And that's adjacent to the commercial plaza there. The front road work, we've had an interesting go there. We knew this area was going to be the toughest part of the whole job, just based on the amount of utilities in the area, the age, the soils. So we are about 3 weeks behind schedule at this point. Most of that, I don't want to say expected, because that's not the word, but the issues we've had are unsurprising. Yeah, yes, it's not surprising based on where we are at. So we are about 3 weeks behind. We should have already been into Front Road right now, but we're just creeping up there, and I would expect within the next 2 weeks for us to be within Front Road working there. The original timeline had us probably completing 80% of the project before the winter season. I don't expect us to be at that mark, but we won't be, you won't be seeing any construction during the winter. By December, we're hoping to clean up Front Road and making it ready for the winter. I don't want barrels out there when we're doing snow plows and anything like that. So we're going to keep it as tidy as we can, try to utilize the remainder of the good construction days we have. And the other thing that's worth mentioning is this is phase 1 of 2, the second phase of pump stations. So our goal here is to ensure that we have outlets in place. So we have the one outlet, the next one is near Riem. So we want to make sure that those 2 outlets are constructed before the winter so that we can tender the pumping stations, then we can have 2 contractors working without having any issues with the Ministry of Labor. So that's kind of our vision at this point.
Thank you, appreciate the update. Nothing else? Any notice? Oh, Councilor Reno?
Just a question with that plan. As you tidy things up for the winter, all 4 lanes will be back open, or will it still be,
Correct, yeah, we have no anticipation of having any lane reductions during the winter. So by December, it should be four lanes fully open.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any notices of motion? None? We don't have a closed session to report, so we'll move into our bylaws, and it's the following bylaws be given a first, second, third reading and finally passed, and there's 3 of them this evening. 2025-082 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 8692, being a bylaw to govern the calling of and proceeding of council and committee meetings and the conduct of its members. 2025-083 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 8501, being a bylaw to impose development charge on certain residential and non-residential development within the town of LaSalle, and 2025-084 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an extension agreement with Navjot Singh and Harwinder Kaur. And that's it. Moved by Deputy Mayor Capata, support. Councillor Carrick, all in favor? And that carries. Our confirmatory bylaw is 2025-086, be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed. Councillor Regis-Spagnolo and Councillor Burns, all in favor, and that carries. Below our schedule of meetings, thank you for joining us in person and online. Have a good night.